Mountain rescue is a branch of search and rescue that involves finding lost people in wilderness areas. I've been on a mountain rescue team in Albuquerque, New Mexico for 5 years now. We mostly have calls in the Sandia Mountains outside of Albuquerque, but we get calls all over New Mexico. After a big call, sometimes there'll be an article about it and a family member or friend will reach out to me to ask what happened. The article always emphasizes the rescue component, probably because it's much more action-packed. But the search component takes far more time, and the reality is we can only help people that we can find. Search involves both search techniques and search theory, and I'm going to outline both of those things for you today. Let's start with search techniques. There are indirect techniques and direct techniques. One important indirect technique is attraction. That can involve calling out to a subject, pausing, waiting for them to respond. Using flashlights or flares to be more visible is another example of attraction. In a Wilderness Medical Society article called Wilderness Search Strategy, the authors discuss the benefits of sending containment teams to roads, trailheads, trail junctions to prevent the subject from leaving the area. That's another effective indirect technique. With direct search techniques, teams look, directly for the subject or for clues like a dropped glove or disturbed vegetation. Teams often perform hasty searches. Hasty searches are made up of a small team of searchers. They often follow the subject's most likely route, and the hope is to find the subject quickly. If that doesn't work, the search progresses, and eventually we turn to area searching, which is often a grid search. I'm going to show you a video of a grid search to give you a better sense of what I'm talking about as I explain it. In grid searching, rescuers line up side by side with some space in between them, and they all travel in the same direction, forming a grid. The idea is that they want to comb through the area to find clues or the subject if they miss them. Search techniques focus on the mechanics of searching, while search theory is much more about probability. Search theory tries to answer the question, how do we maximize the chance of finding our subject in a given region in the shortest time possible with our limited resources? The Incident Command or IC staff stays at the mission's home base. They look at maps and perform calculations to maximize that probability of a find. IC also divides a whole search area into search regions. It almost kind of looks like Tetris pieces coming together. And search teams are given assignments by Incident Command or IC within specific search regions. Probability of success in search theory refers to the likelihood that searching in a specific region will lead to a find. The simpler way to put that would be is the subject likely to be in the region that you're sending searchers to? The probability of success depends both on the probability of detection, can the subject be detected by searchers, and the probability of containment. Is the subject likely contained within or attracted to a specific area? In an article called Land Search and Rescue Probability of Detection, Dr. Robert Kester explains that probability of detection, or POD, depends on how open the region is and also on how thoroughly the searchers look through the region. If the search area is open, if it's not densely forested, and the searchers do a thorough job, the POD is high. Probability of containment matters too. When the IC staff divides the search area into search regions, they focus a lot on the subject's behavior. Dr. Kester also wrote a book called Lost Person Behavior, where he discusses a lot of that. One of the factors is there a river that might draw that person in? Or is there something like a ridge that would keep them contained within a region? In summary, the IC staff sends people to search regions where the probability of detection is high, meaning the searchers can detect the subject is there, and or that the probability of containment is high, that the searchers are likely to find the subject because they're contained within a region. If you put those two things together, you have a high probability of success or finding a person in a region. Searchers don't need to be acutely aware of search theory while they're in the field, but it's helpful to know that you're one piece of a bigger picture. Searchers do need to focus on navigating well and on performing search techniques well, because the way that we do our job can increase the probability of detection. We're more likely to find someone if we're focused and very much on task. Let's review some of what we've learned so far. There are direct and indirect search techniques. With indirect search techniques, attraction is probably the most common. It involves calling out for the subject and waiting for them to respond, or trying to make yourself more visible with, say, a flashlight. There are also direct search techniques. Those involve looking directly for a subject or for clues. With hasty searching, small teams are sent out along the subject's most likely route, and the object is to find the subject quickly. You tend to send your fast people on your hasty team. Area searches come into play later on. They typically involve grid searching, where the subject might be within a field. All of the searchers line up and walk along in a grid with the hope that they'll find something that they may have missed on a previous pass. It's important to understand that IC divides the whole search area into search regions. The probability of success depends on the probability of detection. Can the subject be seen in an area? As well as the probability of containment, meaning the subject is likely contained in the area. Those two things are multiplied together to lead to the probability of success. IC tries to send the most searchers and resources to search regions with a high probability of success. Searching for a lost subject is a complicated process that requires both search theory and search techniques. I was once on a multi-day search where I was sent out on a hasty team. We didn't come up with anybody. And then we ended up searching many different areas over the course of 3 days and eventually turned to area searching. And then the subject was in a completely unexpected location. Unfortunately, they passed away, and we had to do a body recovery. But the whole time, our resources were being very carefully managed by Incident Command using search theory. The thing that I really love about search is that when everybody does their part, the whole nerd circus comes together, and it's really fun. It's like we're a little pod that is sent out on a mission and we figure it out, usually in the dark. And more often than not, we're able to find the person. And it's a great feeling. It's always an adventure, even the parts that just feel like wandering around in the dark. I hope you understand a little bit more about how search works within the search and rescue world, and that you enjoyed listening.